My name is Jacob Wilson, and today I am doing the assignment, What Others Think About Psychology. As I was working on this assignment, I discovered one thing about most of the people in my group. I discovered that there tends to be two different types of people, and they kind of tend to separate themselves based on each question. It was almost always either or for the answer, rather than more in the middle. For example, there two groups of people who knew about psychology. There'd be the group that has taken psychology classes before, and the group that hasn't. And what I discovered with these two different groups is that for those who have taken psychology before, they were very easily able to identify the myths that were how much percent of our brain power do we use, what goes on during a full moon, whether odd behavior occurs during that time or not, and whether opposites attract or not. And those three questions were, for the most part, able to be easily dismissed. However, for the groups that did not take psychology, they struggled more on those questions and came up with one question so ridiculous as the reason odd behavior occurs during a full moon is because it has an energy, a polar magnetic energy that affects people during the full moon. That was, of course, a ridiculous answer. Me and her were both laughing about it as we talked about that one. But the point stands is she did believe that there was odd behavior occurring during the full moon, which I found to be an interesting point to note. Other things that I meant, those people who thought that odd behavior occurred during full moon tended to agree that we don't use our full brain capacity, and that opposites do attract, when in fact they don't. Another group that I found was the young generation and the old generation. On the question, what are or how sorry, do youth today know how to work hard? I found that there was again two different types of questions. Two different types of answers, I should say. There was either the answer that from the older generations that would say, no, our youth do not know how to work as hard, or there would be an answer from the youth that would say, depends on the person. I find this interesting because by them saying depends on the person, they are effectively saying that yes, some of our youth do not know how to work as hard, but at the same time, some do. Now, I have a feeling that personal bias may play a part in this, which may make those youth believe that they aren't part of that percentage of people who do not know how to work as hard, which I think says something about the way our nation views the youth. One last thing I would like to point out is that my mother, who has grown up and was raised on a farm and is currently living in South Dakota, said that yes, absolutely, the youth of today know how to work hard. However, most of the other people I interviewed were out in the cities, but she was the only one who was currently living at a farm. So I think that's something that interesting to note, and says a lot about our what people know about psychology. Thank you.